What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video where we will preview the Leipzig-Liverpool Champions League game. Let me know what is your prediction for this huge monumental game. Hopefully Liverpool can bounce back from 3 defeats in a row, 3 Premier League defeats for the first time since Jurgen Klopp became Liverpool manager, and Leipzig are in great form. They are second in the Bundesliga, but I still trust Liverpool. I still believe in Liverpool that we can do something and we can get a result away at Leipzig. The game is played 3 kilometers away from my home in Budapest, and I absolutely got it that I can't go to the game. Let me know your predictions. My prediction is a hard-fought 2-1 Liverpool win. I honestly believe that Liverpool can still get a victory in the Champions League. This is our competition, and if we play as well as we did against Leicester and we avoid the individual mistakes, I think we can do it. But first I want to talk about the Liverpool owners, because I found a really interesting Premier League spending chart in the Sunday World newspaper, where these figures are from net transfer spending since the summer of 2016. And what is staggering, so this is basically the past 5 years of net spend when it comes to transfers. If you take the figure that is spent on transfers and you take out the figure, the amount that is received from players sold, that's the net spend. And Liverpool are 14th with a net spend of 129 million. That is absolutely incredible, and that is euros. 129 million divided by 5 years, that's 26 million euros net spend per season. And for example, Everton are third in this net spend table with 346 million euros net spend. So Everton spent 100 million more than the double of what Liverpool spent. So Everton spent like 60-70% more. And teams like Aston Villa, Brighton, Wolves, Fulham, West Ham, Sheffield United, 6 teams that I honestly never expected to spend more money on transfers than Liverpool, if you take the player sales out of it as well. And yes, I know that this amount includes the Philippe Coutinho sale, of course, which skews the net spend in a negative favor. But still, it's absolutely staggering that how much the Liverpool owners have been very stingy. And Jurgen Klopp built up this Liverpool team to be the best team in the world at one point. We were the best team in the Premier League at one point, and that's when the owners should have backed Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. And yes, I know that we signed Thiago and Diogo Jota, but it was a massive risk not to sign a centre-back, and the owners waited until all 3 of our centre-backs were out injured for the season to actually bring in 2 players who I don't think will save Liverpool's season, because Ben Davies, he's a championship defender, and Ozan Kabak comes from Schalke with just 1 win all season in the Bundesliga, and he only cost like 2 million on loan. Ben Davies cost 2 million as well. So the owners actually spent just 4 million in the January transfer window, and Jurgen Klopp desperately needed help. He had 8 players out injured, and the owners refused to back him in the January transfer window, and that is absolutely disgraceful in my opinion, because Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers in Liverpool's history, and certainly he's a genius, but he can't save Liverpool when we have 9-10 players out injured at this time, and when we are scraping the bottom of the barrel in the transfer window with players like Ben Davies from Preston and Ozan Kabak. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for both players. I think they are good players, but do you see Man United, Man City or Chelsea, if they had all their centre-backs out injured, would they have signed a player just on loan for 2 million and another player from the Championship? Would that have happened? No, they would have gone out and signed a £30 million centre-back who is experienced, who is either Premier League proven or is proven in the La Liga or in the Bundesliga or in the Serie A, and he would have come in and steadied the ship. And I mean, I still can't get my head around that Everton and Aston Villa and even Brighton spent twice as much as Liverpool in the past 5 years. We are not just talking about the past 2 seasons, we are talking about the past 5 5 seasons. So that is almost the whole of Jurgen Klopp's tenure. Aston Villa, Brighton spent twice as much net as Liverpool. Brighton, what the hell is wrong with the Liverpool owners? Tell me guys, don't tell me that Liverpool don't have more money to spend. When we won the Premier League, we won the Champions League. And after we won the Champions League, we just signed Adrian, a backup goalkeeper, on a free transfer. That was it. Yes, we signed Harvey Elliott and Sepp van den Berg, but we signed them for the reserve side. We didn't sign them for the first team, so I'm not counting them really as proper signings. And that's where I think Liverpool messed up. I think we really should have gone out and strengthened. And yes, I know that the next season we won the Premier League at the canter. That's brilliant, but you have to strengthen when you are on top. That's the rule number 1 in football. When you are on top in football, that's when you need to strengthen and make it that you stay on top, because Liverpool are in free fall at the moment. We have just 9 points from the available 10 games that we played. Last 10 Premier League games, Liverpool have 9 points. Just to put that into perspective, West Ham, who won 3-0 yesterday, have 21 points in those 10 games. That is Champions League form, 21 points in 10 games. Liverpool, that's relegation form, 9 points from 10 games. We dropped 21 points in just these last 10 games in the Premier League. And yes, I know that this is probably the worst 10-game period in Jurgen Klopp's managerial career. But still, the owners knew that Liverpool needed centre-backs, and they waited until deadline day. And I'm certain that was one of the reasons why we lost to Man City and why we lost to Leicester City, because if we signed Ozan Kabak and on January the 1st, he would have had a lot of weeks on the training ground to get used to the Liverpool playing style, to get used to Alisson and the other centre-backs. And in the end, we signed him on transfer deadline day. And what happened is that Ozan Kabak and Alisson are just not used to each other, and that resulted in Leicester City's second goal. It was just a miscommunication, and I find this absolutely staggering, this table. Man City are first, by the way, no surprise there. They have a net spend of 631 million euros in net spend in the past 5 years. Man United have 586 million euros, and then Everton with 346. And just to compare, Chelsea have 308. Even Arsenal have 300 million. Liverpool have 130. Even Tottenham have 250 million net spend, which is almost double what Liverpool spent. Even Tottenham spent almost double than Liverpool. And I mean, the fact that Fulham, West Ham, Wolves, Brighton, and some of these clubs weren't even in the Premier League in the past 5 years. Sheffield United spent more net spend. They spent more on players than Liverpool. I can't even make this. I don't even have a proper excuse for the owners apart from the pandemic. Yes, of course, we had the pandemic, but still, that is just absolutely staggering how Liverpool owners didn't really back the manager, in my opinion. And yes, Liverpool's wage bill increased. In 2015-16 and 2016-17, Liverpool had a wage bill of 208 million, and that rose to 300 million last season. So that grew by like 30% considerably. But still, I think Liverpool would have and must have spent more on transfers, because at the moment, yes, we are in our worst injury crisis in Jurgen Klopp's career, and probably in Liverpool's history this is the worst injury crisis. I mean, at one point having 5 centre-backs out injured is absolutely staggering, but still, that doesn't change the fact that we didn't replace Lovren. When we were Premier League champions, we sold Lovren, and we just went into the season with 3 centre-backs plus Fabinho. And yes, nobody could have seen that 2 of them would get injured and their season would be ended. But then just go out and sign a centre-back on January the 1st and give him time to get accustomed to the playing style, give him time on the training ground with Jurgen Klopp. No, let's wait until transfer deadline day to sign 2 centre-backs, one of them in the championship. So I'm just really mad and really fed up at the owners, because Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, if there is a manager in the world who deserves the owners' backing, if there is a manager in the world who deserves help in the January transfer window, more help than what Jurgen Klopp got, then it's Jurgen Klopp, and that's my point. That's where we will end this discussion. And also we have to report on a fact that UEFA have reportedly asked Liverpool to move their home fixture against Leipzig to neutral venue outside of England, because probably Leipzig wouldn't be able to travel to England, come back and fulfill their Bundesliga fixtures. And this makes the Champions League just an absolute joke, of absolute farce of a competition, when the Leipzig-Liverpool game can't be played in Germany and the Liverpool-Leipzig game can't be played in England either. So then what's the point? Why not just do it how UEFA did it last season, and just scrap the knockout stages, the two-legged ties, and just move it to the end of the season and play at a neutral venue with one-off games deciding each tie, and that's it. Because this is just ridiculous that in Germany, of course, you can't travel to England and then come back. You have to quarantine for like 10 to 14 days, which means that Leipzig would have to miss 2 Bundesliga fixtures and maybe a German Cup fixture as well. And that's just unacceptable for them. So if the fixture is moved from Liverpool, then it will be moved to a neutral country, and Leipzig would have to pay Liverpool £300,000. That's the compensation. That is like nothing. That is peanuts for a club like Liverpool, or even for a club like Leipzig. So I don't get this, honestly, that UEFA decide to go through with this Champions League tournament as it is. But of course they just want the games to be played, so as much TV revenue as possible could be collected from the TV games, and that's the main reason, money, in my opinion. And Leipzig are having a very, very good season in the Bundesliga. They are second. They beat Augsburg on Friday, so they had one more day's rest. And I think the key to this will be, can Liverpool keep a clean sheet away to Leipzig, because we very rarely score more than 1 goal lately. Even though we create 5 or 6 great chances, we just failed to take them. So I don't see Liverpool scoring 3 or 4 goals at Leipzig, maybe 2 if we take our chances, but the key will be, can we restrict the Leipzig? And Leipzig are not a team who rely on just one man to score goals. Like last season they had Timo Werner, who scored the majority of their goals. Their top scorers are actually left wing back Angelino and Yusuf Poulsen, their striker. But they don't have like 20 goals, either of them. They have around 8 to 10 goals throughout the whole season. And Liverpool, of course, have a lot of injury issues. Naby Keita still isn't fit to travel. He is training, but they kept him at Liverpool. So I think Kabak and Henderson will start at centre-back. And then Thiago Wijnaldum and Curtis Jones will start in midfield. And I really, really hope that Curtis Jones could be the player to unlock Leipzig's defense. Because in the absence of Naby Keita and in the absence of Oxlade-Chamberlain, I mean an in-form Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones is the player who can get the ball in midfield, wiggle through past 2 or 3 midfielders, and then either shoot on goal or thread a pass to one of the strikers. And also Mane and Firmino needs to step up, especially Mane. He has been a shadow of himself since he got COVID. I think that's one of the main reasons, and he just hit one of his worst cold streaks in his Liverpool career. He only has 10 goals this season, and Salah has like 23 goals in all competitions, and normally they are very close to each other in the goal scoring chart. So I think Mane needs to step up. We can't just expect Salah to score in every single game. At the moment, there is no other player at Liverpool who scores regularly, and that's a huge issue, a huge problem. And Jurgen Klopp said before the game, we know how difficult it is against Leipzig. I assume Leipzig know how difficult it is against us, and we will just try to make sure that our football that can still be excellent wins. It just hasn't been the results recently that we wanted, and that's what we are going to start changing tomorrow night. And Julian Nagelsmann, the brilliant manager of Leipzig, who is very versatile in his tactics, he can change formation in a game of 2, 3, 4 times, change the tactics in a game, and he's a very flexible, tactically very flexible manager. He said they are still slightly favorites against us based on their European experience. If we lose, it will not be because of the stadium, it will be because of the way we played. So again, he doesn't want to make excuses, Nagelsmann. He just wants Liverpool, he wants Leipzig to play to the best of their abilities. And Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 10 meetings with German clubs, stretching back to 2002. That is an incredible run, because German clubs are very, very strong in the Champions League, and considering that we played Bayern Munich in the Champions League very recently, that's a brilliant record. And also, Liverpool won 15 of their previous 17 two-legged ties against the Bundesliga opposition. That is like more than 90% win success rate. Absolutely brilliant that Liverpool won 15 of 17 Bundesliga. No, it's 88%, sorry, so almost 90%. I don't think that it means anything, because that is throughout the history of European football. But I think what means is that Liverpool sooner or later have to start winning, and it has to be soon, because if we lose to Leipzig and go out of the Champions League, then our season will be a massive disappointment. The Champions League can save Liverpool's season. If Liverpool get to the semi-finals of the Champions League and finish in the top 4 in the Premier League, I would still consider the season a success. But of course, you have to take into account the circumstances that Liverpool have too many injuries, and also we are missing the home fans at Anfield, and there are of course a lot of other factors like VAR giving 9 decisions against Liverpool throughout the Premier League season. But I think Liverpool actually played brilliantly against Leicester. Michael Owen agrees with me. He said Liverpool came out, they played brilliant. That's as good as I've seen Liverpool for a long time playing football. I'm thinking about Burnley and Southampton, those 2 games. Some of the rubbish we have been watching from Liverpool in recent weeks, it just has been a pale shadow of Liverpool. But Jurgen Klopp came out after the Man City game and said we played really well. He was very positive, and he was even more positive after the Leicester game. He just said that it was individual mistakes that cost us. We have to cut them out. And if we cut them out, then we are in business, because Liverpool's overall play is good enough to win games. We haven't been better, but and we haven't been like struggling to create chances like we did against Brighton, against Southampton, against Burnley. So I really hope that we carry this performance into the Leipzig game. But of course, cutting out the individual mistakes. The Champions League is a brutally ruthless competition, just like the Premier League. So Liverpool have to be in top form, and I really, really hope that we either keep a clean sheet or keep Leipzig to 1 goal, and hopefully we take our chances. Because if Liverpool take their chances, if Mane or Firmino can score and not just Salah, then we have a very great chance of advancing to the knockout stages. So let me know what is your prediction for the Leipzig-Liverpool game, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. See you later. Goodbye.